Who's your all-time favorite reptile? Mine's probably this guy.
I'm a snack.
What's up, Flick fans? Welcome back to the channel. We have a brand new thriller on Netflix starring Benicio Del Toro. I was so excited to watch this movie. We're going to talk about it right now. Following the brutal murder of a young real estate agent, a hardened detective attempts to uncover the truth in a case where nothing is as it seems, and by doing so, dismantles the illusions of his own life. This film is actually rated R for language, violence, nude images, and it's a dark, dreary, and often dreadful movie with a stacked cast, and it's firmly planted in one of my favorite genres. It's a crime-centric drama. I expected David Fincher vibes here. It's a thriller. It's a mystery. It has basically everything you want on its surface, and the tone, the really dark atmosphere that we get all throughout this film. There is very little levity and humor. I don't know necessarily that the story calls for that, so that's okay. But if you're not a fan of these dark and dreary and often slower paced movies like this that's revolving around a somewhat complex, some people would use the word convoluted mystery at the forefront, then I don't know if this is going to be a movie for you. That being said, anyone who loves this genre and really loves this cast, specifically Del Toro, I think you're at least going to get something. I'm going to dive right into my absolute favorite aspect of this movie and what I believe shines far above everything else. You know, you have the story at play, you have the mystery, like I said, and some of this brutality. None of it lives up to Benicio Del Toro. None of it lives up to the performance that's pushing us as an audience to look at this character specifically and say, I don't exactly know where he falls, even though I know his mindset, I know his mentality, and I know how much he wants to solve this specific mystery. But his character gets caught up in a lot in this film, and prior to us seeing him in the first place, there's a reason why he moved here to start. There is a backstory there that's not fully explored, but it's talked about between he and Alicia Silverstone's character, who plays his wife, by the way. And really, both of these characters are up in the air at points, and you don't fully know if you trust what they're seeing and saying, but you understand that he's the focal point for a reason. And at the beginning of the movie, I'm like, well, I don't really trust him, but I don't trust anybody else more than I don't trust him.
What? No.
You may be saying, Austin, I thought you said Del Toro gives the best performance. He does, and that's one of my issues with the movie is I believe the writing for some of these characters goes beyond the performances that we were given. Not that they're bad. I don't think there's a bad performance in this film, but I feel as if we could have gotten more from those surrounding Del Toro. Maybe that's because he is so strong. And if the narrative was a little stronger here and it veered away from that convoluted category more toward what it's trying to do, and that's be complex, I would say Del Toro is worthy of being looked at for an award here. I'm not kidding. He is that good.
So good.
Every emotional beat of this movie that works extremely well goes through him. The film works there more than it does really anywhere else. Now, you know, others, and I'll start to transition into the visuals here, others will look at this and say, yeah, but the movie, it's just boring. It's dark, it's dreary. I'm watching it, I'm just like, I want to go to sleep. And I think these darker visuals create a sense of atmosphere and really an aesthetic behind this film that complements the emotions that it's going for. It's wanting to make you feel like you are unsure what you are seeing. You can't really trust anyone in this movie. I mean, every single character, either they come across as being a good person, in actuality, they're a scumbag. You think you can trust them, you don't really know. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Even those involved that start out and you're like, there's no way I can't trust that person. Never mind. Oh, wait. Never mind to that. So the movie is constantly, whether the twists and turns work overall or not, it's constantly at least trying to catch you off guard with its characters. And I appreciate it. And like I said at the beginning, on its surface, the characters work well. I believe the visuals work for what the film is going for. And there's a performance at the center that should elevate this film into great territory. Unfortunately, the story that they're telling is just trying to do too much. And I am okay with twists and turns in a mystery like this, one that is putting the drama so far ahead of everything else in the film. But you have to make it somewhat accessible, and you have to make it to where we're going to buy those twists and turns. And unfortunately, one of the integral moments in this movie I saw coming from a mile away. Now, Some of the time it does catch you off guard, but even those moments, they felt like they were a little lazy in their execution, and the movie's 2 hours and 15 minutes. You should have time to be able to flesh those plot points out, and the film does a lot of fleshing out. A lot of slow-moving shots, a lot of moments alone with their characters, some scenes of people just sitting down and talking for a few minutes. That is absolutely okay. I actually prefer that in a movie like this, but it didn't do a good job, and this is me trying not to spoil it, of bringing all of the components of the mystery that it's setting up throughout the first act together and telling a cohesive and final product to where when it ends, you're sitting back going, wow. I can't believe it did what it just did. But even a mysterious ending, I think of a film like Prisoners, I think that would have worked better than what they give us here, which just, some people may say, oh, we got what we needed out of the ending, but I'm thinking, well, what about the entirety of the third act? And it's just moving so slow, and you're getting a couple of moments of resolve. I think a big issue is they reveal something earlier, way earlier in the movie, and post-reveal, it just doesn't have that oomph that it had at the beginning, even though Del Toro, again, he's just crushing it the whole time. All in all, I think Grant Singer does a nice job behind the camera, and before I give you my score for this Netflix original movie, join me as we review other films and series on the platform, and if you want to drop a like, that'd be cool. Reptile is a dreary and somewhat tense crime drama that features a fascinating and compelling lead performance. Benicio Del Toro crushes it, but the mystery surrounding him doesn't quite come together as intended. It's solid enough, but it waits too long to hit hard. Sometimes a movie, they don't strike while the iron is hot, and you have something like Reptile, but I still think people that enjoy this genre and this actor, really these actors as a whole, I haven't even really mentioned Justin Timberlake. He's in this movie.
It's gonna be me.